Good morning, welcome to a morning review on Wednesday, the 29th of June. I have to remember which day it is, let alone anything else at the moment. Goodness. Okay, looking at the euro dollar and yesterday we managed to push up a little and close up a little bit further. We've filled the gap that was there. That's been filled and done for, but to me, it's just consolidating here. And well, as I said, we over the next days, we could be pushing up towards the weekly pivot. It's normally hit in the earlier part of the week, so the longer it takes, the less likely it happens. But still got a good possibility of that happening. So looking at the price action here, and well, from an hourly perspective, it's been consolidating. There is a trend line that sits across the highs here, which I think it's just about almost touching at this junction right this moment. It looks like perhaps this bar, next bar, I'd wait until 8 o'clock anyway before taking anything, but could give us the long side on the euro. It's only just, and it is in a bit of a tight old wedge, and I'm sure, well, there is this short alternative here, which sits across the lows there, but just need to watch out. Well, the 50 has been mauled before, I think is the best description of it. Well, that may just give a little bit sort of pull if it breaks down, but if it does break down, we've got the S1 below. But we are seeing a renewed tightened range going on here with the euro. Looking at cable, the pound dollar. And again, yesterday made a bit of a recovery, still yet to fill its gap from the weekend. And well, of course, it's got the weekly pivot well above. I mean, the bigger picture I was looking at yesterday was really to see if it would run up to this 4-hourly 21, which has still got a reasonable probability of doing. Excuse me. And looking ahead here, well, yesterday's range was relatively tight, and the pivots are now relatively tight as well. So again, the R1 would be my chosen target here. We managed to get up and just fall short of the R1 yesterday. Perhaps we'll catch it today. It's always a good probability we'll get either the R1 or the S1. So the R1 looks favoured at the moment, but again, I'm waiting until after 8 o'clock to be aiming for that. Any breakdown on the lower side, of course, then of this range that we built up through the Asian session here, there's a trend line across the lows there, would be looking towards the S1 and maybe even the S2 for the ultimate lows there. There are sort of loads of buy stops starting to appear below us, so it does start giving us a bit of support below. Okay, looking at the dollar yen. Again, it was the dollar yen actually softened yesterday and hit the weekly pivot. It's rolled over a little bit and strengthening against the US dollar at the moment, but again, it's just coming back to its 50 here. Get rid of all this, it might start looking, get rid of that, the funny odd day of Friday. Once we got that out of the way, these charts will be a lot easier to read, I think. But at the moment, well, it's had a decent retrace here. If it can start breaking, there's a really steepish trend line coming across these highs here. If it can break through this area and start building up some momentum, well, maybe it can continue towards the sort of R1 area, maybe beyond that. I mean, I'd be looking at yesterday's highs initially, but then maybe the R1. Okay, Aussie dollar. Again, positive day yesterday. It's just confirmed a little higher low here. You've got the 4-hourly 50 and 34 sitting not too far above, which could be good targets if it does start getting a bit of a leg up. Likewise, looking at the bottom, lower side here, we've got a trend line. So it says a decent trend line below us. However, it'll have done. I'd be looking at yesterday's lows there if it starts breaking down properly post 8 o'clock, and yesterday's lows and the S1 there as a target if it starts breaking down that way. Hasn't quite pipped its daily pivot yet, so to a point there it could just come down and test that. As I say, if it breaks the daily pivot, well then I'll become more bearish towards yesterday's lows. And finally, the Canadian dollar. In fact, let's just pop that on there. Then let's just look at before we do that, let's just have a quick look at the price of oil. And oil's making a little recovery yesterday, popped up a little bit. Canadian dollar it did in the end start recovering, but it was going right against the grain for some time there. It's just a strength of the US dollar, I guess, but it's pulled off again. Then finally, not quite put a pivot swing in, but well, it has on the 4-hourly here, and it's triggered that, and well, could be on for some more strengthening here as if oil continues pushing up. This will move its way further south. Targets wise, yesterday's lows, the S1 of course, there was the 100 MA just coming up, the hourly 100 which comes in with yesterday's low. So if it does start breaking down post 8 o'clock, there's the targets for me, is yesterday's lows, the S1. And still weekly pivot untouched below, so there's a couple of things to be looking for there. Right, okay, news-wise today, let's just run through that very quickly. We've got running through this, coming up, there's still the EU summit going on, so we could see fallout from that, although I think there's a lot of rhetoric going on, and I don't think we're going to see anything positive or particularly negative. We're just seeing random comments coming from that at the moment, which could affect anything. We've what else we've got? We've got crude oil inventories, pending home sales, inflation data in the spending, more so in the US at 130. So I'd be looking out for that. It's not rated very high on a lot of the systems, but personal spending is quite key, I think, at the moment, and we could see a bit more of a kicker from that, particularly if the market's starting to go a bit quiet. Later, US after in the evening, 9:30, we've got the bank stress test from the US. That's not really a major mover, but we'll be finished trading by then anyway. So there's not a lot of major data. There is, I mean, there's German CPI, inflation, and things like this coming out throughout the morning. Normally finished by about midday. Doesn't really do too much in moving the euro. It'll give us a bit of a clue of the overall inflation in Europe as a whole. So, and then we've got the flash figure out, Spanish flash CPI coming at 8 o'clock, not a mover at all. So there's more data coming out today, but a lot of low key data. Okay, that's it for me. Hope you have a great one. Bye for now.